Hey guys, so welcome to Ask Dan. This week we're talking about strength versus stamina training. So first of all, before we get into it, I want to discuss what strength training is. So most times you'll hear people lifting some ridiculous amounts of weights. 4 to 6 reps is the key words you're listening to or of any strength program. So what this is basically trying to improve the amount of weight you can push in a short burst or a short amount of time. So realistically, your aim is to get stronger and stronger and stronger. And that's the type of strength training that I'm referring to. And now the stamina training is obviously your endurance and the duration of your workout. So the more volume that you can push for a longer time. So last week I got asked the question, what do you recommend? Do you recommend strength and stamina training? I do a hybrid approach personally. I tend to grab some HIT workouts and incorporate them on strength days to make sure that I'm burning fat and building muscle at the same time. But that's when you're talking about me and what my goals are. So the best advice I can give anyone is always ask a professional, drop a question on the forum and say, hey, I'm planning on doing this. This is my goal. What do you guys recommend? Is it strength or is it stamina? So realistically, the quickest way, compound movements. So I'm going to start talking about the types of strength training that I incorporate. So a compound movement uses multiple joints or body parts at the same time. They're great for strength training and increasing your overall strength. So you'll hear people say, or you'll hear the bro chat in the gym about squatting and bench pressing and doing all those big compound movements. What they'll do is they'll increase your overall strength and your actual lean body mass. So increasing your lean body mass also gives you the ability to increase your calorie intake. What that means is that you can eat a lot more food because now you're growing and you have a lot more lean body mass to maintain. So that's the strength training that I'll incorporate is I'll tend to do a little bit, I might do a pyramid, a reverse pyramid on being rep ranges between 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12. And then I might reverse it back down and do 12, 10, 8, and 4. And that'll be it for that particular muscle that I'm working on. What this does is it allows my body to be constantly shocked. It makes my strength training, it makes my strength go through the roof, but it also gives me a level of fitness, cardiovascular fitness, that basically contributes to me losing weight. So some quick things that you can do to change strength training into stamina training is reduce the rest time. That's the quickest win I can give you at the moment now. What that means is if you're on a strength training regime, you're resting anywhere between 2 to 3 minutes, drop that down to a minute or to a minute and 30 or even further, 45 seconds for a small and ancillary muscle. So like a calf or a core workout, some abs, I tend to do about 45 seconds, 30 to 45 second breaks in between sets or in between exercises if I'm doing the ab circuit. So basically, for a stamina style of training, it'll be HIT. Just make sure you get that endurance. Your heart rate's really, really elevated, and you're not really focused on pushing that amount of weight. What you're focusing on is the volume and the endurance. So, in other words, if you're doing, for example, chin-ups, I would do probably till failure, 2 or 3 sets of chin-ups. One may be assisted, or I might start assisted and just remove weight as necessary until I'm failing at my end result. So I'm failing at 10 reps or I'm failing at 12 reps, and that's what I'll use as my stamina training. Even though I'm using a compound movement, that style of training will give me cardiovascular fitness. It'll get me fitter and it'll give me more stamina based on that volume of training. So you could easily incorporate like a HIT workout at the end of your strength training days. So you could also do something fast paced. So you might jump into like a massive circuit work for those people who have seen my new phased approach to the 35-day Dan program. So the version 2 will have phase 1s, 2, and 3 in the 35-day. What that means is phase 1 is more of a slow, incrementally increased progressive overload of the weights, also introducing hypertrophy. And the second phase is more high intensity circuit work. And what that does is shock your body and enables you to use muscles that you wouldn't use on a standard compound movement. And so what that is doing is it's giving you stamina as well as building your overall strength and maximizing fat loss, which is the ideal workout zone that you want to be in for 30 to 45 minutes a day if you're striving for that 5-week body transformation. So to answer the question that I got asked last week, I don't have a preference. It all depends on exactly what I'm training for and what my goals are. If I'm training to maintain my physique, my but increase my muscle mass, I'm more dominant in the strength training zone. So increasing my rest times, increasing the amount of weight I push, but also maintaining my form. That is key. Do not go heavier if your form is lacking. Always have a spotter when you're pushing for a new 1RM, so your 1 rep max. Always have a spotter for safety, because you never know. You might misbreathe, or you might be a little bit overwhelmed. You might get a bit sloppy on your form, and I'd rather you guys be safe and have the correct form, as well as get those strength results. Worst case scenario, always remember, if you do not push that weight, it's not like you haven't gained strength. I fail on my 1RM 2 to 3 times before I can actually push it. What that is also doing, it's tearing muscle fibers. Even though I'm trying, I'm still tearing muscle fibers and gaining strength from that particular rep or that particular exercise. Sometimes I may do squats if I can see my legs are starting to lack. I may do about 8 to 9 sets of squats, where I'll start with high volume, 20 reps, 15 reps, and then I'll go to 10 reps, 4 reps, 4 reps, and then I might do a 1RM. I might not go down as low, but as long as I've got my correct form, within 2 to 3 weeks, I'll be able to hit that 1RM, and that's what we call progressive overload. So also, alongside with the strength and the stamina training, you want to have a bulletproof nutritional plan, because there's no point in you doing strength training if you're not fueling your body correctly. If you're doing strength training, but your nutritional plan's at a deficit, you're most likely going to start going catabolic. So your body's going to start eating itself for fuel. So eating the muscle that you've trained so hard to build for fuel. I hope that answers your question with the difference between strength and stamina training. One more thing I just want to say, guys, it all depends on your fitness. And again, I want to say it all depends on your goals. If your goal is to get fitter, faster, stronger, then a hybrid approach is the best thing that you can do. If your goal is to just get stronger and lift crazy amounts of weight while not really worrying about your body fat percentage, then strength training is the way to go. But always mix and match and ask a professional. Get yourself a form check, drop a question on the community. Even send me a message like one of the viewers from Italy or from Queensland. Send me a message and I'll hopefully answer your questions. Have a great week ahead. Stick to the plan, and I'll catch you guys on Saturday.